Hello, and how are we doing? We are here with the Injury Clinic, and today we're going to be talking about the first 48 hours after you've had a muscular injury. Now, obviously, everything we do is to try to prevent these from happening, but life's life, and sometimes you will have, unfortunately, get a soft tissue injury. So when we talk about soft tissue injury, we're talking about muscle injuries, so a calf, hammy, groin, side strain, shoulder, something like that, that sort of goes and you feel the muscles hurting. Okay, so this is the basic framework of what we want you to stick to. Now, this isn't your RICE, okay, your rest, ice, compression, elevation. This is we've moved on a bit from there, but people obviously are still doing that stuff. But this is what we want you to do. The first and most important thing, and all the research is pointing towards it at the moment, is compression. Okay, get tight compression now, not tight as in voodoo floss tight, where you can only keep it on for 2 minutes before your limb starts to go blue, but a decent amount of tightness. Think of a compression bandage, one you can buy, or tubey grip, a nice tight tubey grip, something like that. Okay, something where you know it's on, but it's not restricting the flow of blood. Okay, that is probably number one most important. So before you go to bed, we can have it tighter. When you go to bed, have something that you can wear without it being really uncomfortable. Okay, like I said, we don't want it so tight it's constricting and it's stopping your sleep, but it's got to be tight enough that it's helped to start the recovery process. And what we want, the body's an unbelievable bit of kit, and it's got some things within it which, when we have an injury, that the worker bees go to the area and they start the recovery process. Now, when we add things like ice to that, we're almost stopping the actual recovery process happening. We're stopping the recovery. Okay, so when we're just slamming on the ice straight away, taking the anti-inflammatories, that's stopping the actual recovery process, making it slower. So this is why we need to be smarter so that we can get you back quicker. Okay, so compression, tight at first, make sure it's a little bit easier, like the wearable garments at night, your leggings, things like that. Just keep the compression on all the time, okay? Next is soft tissue. Now, the key point with this is do not go straight above or straight into the area which you are feeling and you think you might have had a strain or a tear in. Please, please, please do not. You see it all the time. Someone thinks they've done a hammy, so they start stretching the hell out of it. Let's leave it. Okay, let's let the recovery process start, but let's give it a little bit of a hand. So say you've done a quad, it's okay to get stuck into the hip and then the bottom of the quad. That's fine. If it's the middle of the quad you think you've done, but don't get a gun or a ball or start stretching the hell out of that. Let's leave it. Let's keep the compression on. Get the soft tissue above and below to allow the blood flow to get there better, but leave the actual site where you think you might have torn or got a strain. Really important that we don't want you going smashing that. The body's always there, it's there working already. So we don't want to stop that process. So above and below, not on the point of pain. Now, nutrition, really big thing. We want to keep the inflammation to a minimum around the rest of the body. So we don't want to get the rest of the body inflamed from us eating and drinking poorly. So, a ton of alcohol after you've done something isn't going to help. Having loads of refined carbs and sugar isn't going to help. So if we're sticking to a good source of the protein, a good source of the carbs, rice, potatoes, those sorts of things, with fish, tuna, eggs, meat, we're going to be okay. We're going to help the body process the recovery. If we go refined carbs, sugar, alcohol, fizzy drinks, it's not going to help. It's really not going to help. So let's just be really smart there. Avoid direct ice, okay? So we don't want to smash the ice on there. That stops the recovery process straight away. It stops it dead in its tracks. So let's keep away from the ice. Now, when we say that, if you're used to doing cold plunges and things like that for the whole body, that's okay to keep going with. Okay, don't worry about that. That's fine. You can keep going with those. It's that direct ice on that point of pain we want to avoid. By the same token, if you do recovery, contrast, showers, hot, cold, fine. Keep doing it. That's okay. But not the ice on the point of pain. Let's keep away from that. Be sensible about meds. Okay, again, we don't want to slam these anti-inflams. You know, when we're taking these anti-inflams again, they're going to do the same thing of actually stopping the healing process. Now, sometimes if we're desperate to get back out the next day in the morning, and you know, we need to get out and bowl, sometimes we'll manipulate this. But generally speaking, say you've hurt yourself on a Saturday, you've not got a game to the following Saturday, let's be smart. Now, if the pain's so intense that you can't sleep, that's a different conversation. You know, we want you to be able to sleep because we know sleep is where we get some of the best recovery. So if a little bit of a painkiller or an anti-inflammatory is going to help you sleep, so be it. That's fine. We want to sleep. But generally, day to day, let's keep away from them and be smart. And the biggest thing for us is tell us. The number of times I've got on a call with someone and they said, oh yeah, I've had an injury for the last 4 or 5 weeks. And we're like, you've not spoke to us, you've not told us. This is what we do day in, day out. Okay, and we spoke last week about going to different practitioners and work together on that. But this is the same thing. If you've got an injury and you've gone off and seen someone else and they've given you a completely different set of exercises based around stretching and icing and things like that, you know, it's gonna put you so far back from where you want to be. It's crazy. So tell us, because this is what we deal with. This is what we deal with. But also we can tell you what else to do. So say you've done a hammy and you've gone to see some clown who's just giving you stretches for the hamstring and things like that. You come to us and we say, right, the hammy's out. What else can we do? Can we work on hip internal rotation? Can we be working on your glutes and your core? Can we be working on your shoulder, thoracic, half kneeling bowling? Because there's always something we can be doing even when injured. If we don't know and the plan hasn't changed and you're just not doing it, that's a waste of a month, complete waste of a month. Okay, so we're here to help with that, but you have to tell us. So that's basically the remit of what we do for the first 48 hours, even the first week, to be honest. And then you see day by day. But the other thing then, we need to then judge, is it a soft tissue or might it be, you know, if it's lower body, is it soft tissue or might be referred from your back? So there's other things we can do from there to actually ascertain this. But again, we need to know. If we don't know, we can't tell you. But if you've got an injury and it feels like it's in the groin or the hammy, and then you do a power test with the hammy, like a single leg bridge, and that's fine, or a Copenhagen plank for your adductors, and that's fine, there's a very good chance it's referred pain from somewhere else. Because we've seen it again so many times. People come and talk to us, say, oh, I've got this pain, I've been doing this rehab for it, nothing's changed. You know, they're doing a Copenhagen plank for 2 minutes, but they still think their adductor's pulled. It's not. We need to go back and get it to the back. Okay. So there we go. Hopefully that all makes sense. This is what we want you to stick to. And if you've got any questions, please just ask. Okay. So any questions, please unmute yourself and come and ask. Anyone at all? No?
So, Pavan, have you got a question? You've unmuted, buddy. Have you got something do you want to put in the chat or just wanted to jump on for a quick question? So I got one. When did the protocols change to like ice, elevate, rest? Like what are we talking like in the last few years or?
Well, to be honest, they still haven't. This is the thing. People are still talking about this crap. And they're not going to change because, well, you know, it's like how we shift from just doing strength to finding out how the body works. That the strength is still going on in 99% of people's programs out there. Probably 99.9% to be honest. So everyone is still, you know, I can't remember the last time someone did do an injury lesson. They've got on, oh, I'm putting the ice on it. Don't worry, I've elevated it. I'm getting a soft tissue and stuck into it. She's getting stuck into it. What, you know, what's that about? No, at the end stage, you might want to get someone or get the gun and we're actually manipulating some of the muscle fibers, but the start of it, no, let's let the body do the healing process itself. Let's support it with these things, but let's not actively go against it. So you'll still hear from most people, right, get the ice on it. And geez, like, I was one of the worst, especially when I was at Somerset in the early 2000s. Everything was ice. If I could have got the boys a cryo chamber to sleep in, I would have done it. But when you learn more and you understand how the body works, we understand that this is far better. But don't get me wrong, like I said, if we're in the middle of a 4-day game with someone and we've just got to try and get them out again, we might use that for short-termism. So can we get them out the next day?
Yeah, and I guess that the whole concept of even just general sickness, the body creates a fever to get rid of it. But and I think that this is still fits in with a lot of stuff, is that if you just give the body a little bit of a dose of what it actually needs, it will do the rest for you. You don't need to get too involved with it.
Yes. Oh, I mean, it's an unbelievable bit of kit, as we know. We just need to learn to work with it rather than think we know better than it, which is crazy. So cool. Yeah.
I have a question if I could jump in.
Laka, yeah.
I just want to find out, there's a lot to go on about the deep freeze and deep heat and situations of soft tissue, especially after a game or pre-game. What do you think is the right way to go about those types of things?
Deep freeze and deep heat.
Yeah, like, obviously the sprays come out and the Voltaren gels and all that. So is that a good way to go, or is it not necessary?
No. So pre-game, if you've done your warm-up and you've covered all that and you're in the UK and it's April and it's -2 and you want a little bit of DP or something like that on it, it's not an issue. It's not an issue. But other than that, no, again, if we're in the middle of a game and we're trying to numb something, might we use a little bit of free spray? And possibly, but generally, Matt, I would say no. Voltarol gel. The only time we really talk about using that, again, is if we're doing some self-massage. I like that with shin splints. So basically, at the inside of the shin there, get some gel and just massage it in. But that's the only real time we'd use that.
Okay, great. Thanks. Thank
Good
you.
question, buddy. Cheers, Jodo.
Do you remember the dressing room smell of deep heat playing
Yeah.
football in England?
Yeah. It's all the time.
It was just the deep heat smell, wasn't it? Like you just smelled it everywhere.
I can't remember the liniment as well that we used to have. It was horrific. It clean your nostrils out though.
Yeah.
Certainly clean your nostrils. But great question. Any other questions? Please fire.
I've got something in the chat. So hang on a second. Let me get this.
Elevation. Again, not crucial. Not crucial. If we're doing the other stuff and we might have some compression garments on, that's doing the sort of vasodilation that we need that the elevation, so-called elevation, was giving us. But it's not going to hurt you. Not going to actively hurt you. Now, if you've done an ankle or a calf and you're laying down with it up slightly, fine.
And it used to always be the prescription, didn't it? You had an injury, the first thing, back injury, got to rest it. But to be honest with you, here's one of the last things what I say. I mean, my own father had a back injury 30 years ago. They put him in a cast, like neck to for 6 months. Now, we heard recently of a cricketer, I think in the Southern Hemisphere, who was going into a cast or something for his back.
Yeah.
Last 6 months, which
we
is like...
We had someone who joined up with us. In last year, he had a stress fracture and he'd been put into a cast for 3 months. The PTSD he had from being in that cast for so long meant that he actually quit because he was like, I mentally, I cannot get back to playing to worry about having a stressy and then put me back in that cast. Even though we said, listen, if you're with us, you'd never be in a cast, don't worry. He couldn't get out of that. Just that whole marrying cricket and bowling with being in that cast for 3 months. Imagine 3 months.
Oh man, nightmare, absolute nightmare.
Horrendous. So yeah, it's those practices that thankfully they're long gone. Was there another question coming there?
What stage do we incorporate movement into the injury area?
Well, it depends on the grade. If someone's got a grade 3 strain. Obviously, it's going to take a little bit longer, but you know, as long as we can weight bear and there's going to be no issue, then as soon as we can. Where there's an issue is if it's lower limb and we're going to be compensating too much and see someone hopping down the road is absolutely pointless. Okay, so as soon as we can actually walk naturally with it or weight bear naturally with it, then we start moving. But again, you know, we're doing the soft tissue above and below it. Now, if we've got some compression garments and some of the blow up tights, if we've got some of them, we're going to be getting them going straight away. And we even use TENS machine with the boys at Worcester above and below the muscle to keep the muscle actually working and going. So the answer is as soon as we can, we want it going. You know, we would get guys into the pool with a belt on and go through running mechanics unloaded as soon as we could. Good question. Excellent, Hodgie. Cheers, buddy. Anyone else before we close it down? No? All good?
Russ, question. I know I joined a little late. I guess you covered about major injuries or like soft tissue or something bigger. What if like a smaller one where you didn't take a catch properly and screwed up your finger?
Well,
What do we do?
so yeah, we're just talking soft tissue.
Okay, cool.
If you've done an injury like that, then it's case by case. You know, can you put a strap in on it? Can you put a casing on it and get through? Is it left hand or right hand? So, we'll look at that case by case. But, is with any injury, we want to be working as fast as possible to get you back. And if that area is immobile, say you broke your thumb. I remember I broke my thumb once during a warm-up. I was in a cast up to there, but could use the rest of my body fine. Now, if we had someone break a finger, we'd do everything we could without the hands. So we always, whatever injury it is, we work around it.
Another one coming in, which was, could you recommend some compression wear bands? Also, is it recommended to wear the compression while playing?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So to be honest, Under Armour, you can't really go wrong. Nike, their stuff, the running, Ron Hill, those sorts of things. So, most compression garments are pretty similar. They're good for the general wear, like day to day and wearing at night. You probably want to get something a little bit tighter for directly on the injury for day to day, though. So I wouldn't just use the wearable garment for that. I would get actual neoprene compression. And there you can pretty much get them from anywhere, Amazon, even bloody Poundland, stuff like that. Okay. Any more questions? Please shout. No, all good? Excellent. So, guys, thanks for joining those on. Stick to this. Most important one is tell us, okay? Because that's what we're here for. Sportshoes.com, do skins really? Yeah. So, like I said, most of them get made in the same place. So, yeah, just grab them, okay? Good stuff. Right, Gav has got a Q&A for you at 11 a.m. tomorrow. So we shall see you then, guys. Thanks for coming.